All right, guys. Thank you so much for chatting for a bit today. And Dylan, you're a returning guest, which is pretty cool. The first one, technically.
That's true.
And guys, I'm really happy to meet you both.
Yeah,
And I'm
pleasure.
excited. I'm excited to talk to you guys about the two singles and just everything that's going on with the band.
Yeah, thanks
Um,
for having us.
Awesome.
yeah. So maybe first thing would be cool is both Mike and Jay. I'd love to hear just how you guys got into playing your instruments and playing music, and how you ended up with jam poetry and playing with Dylan. So either one of you want to take it away?
Jay, take the floor.
Yeah,
Cool.
sure. I've been playing guitar since I was about like 10. I've played in like a bunch of cover bands and stuff all throughout like high school and college. Me and Mike actually played in a band together in high school for a while. And then after I graduated, I just kind of met back up with him. He was playing with Dylan in a two piece, so I hopped on bass. So that's been that's
That's
been
awesome.
yeah, the jam poetry that we know today.
Yeah, yeah. And that was that all kind of that was like last year, right? That the
Yeah,
three of you
that
kind of
was
hooked up?
yeah, I joined I want to say in like August or September of last year. So like right around when these two recorded the album. So
Cool. Okay. That's so cool. That's so cool. Yeah, Mike, your turn.
Okay. Uh, yeah, so I guess I gotta keep, Jay did pretty good there, keeping it nice, short
Yeah.
and sweet.
No,
So
take as much time. This is a super low key, chill conversation.
right
Uh,
on. So I started, I don't really come from a family of musicians or anything. I mean, I have a grandfather that plays the spoons, but that's really it. So I guess there's the percussive element, but yeah, I was about 10 years old and I was like, Mom, I want a drum set. So my beautiful mother chalked up every penny she could and you know how
awesome.
expensive drums are and she got me a drum set
Yeah.
and so I've been playing since then. I had a teacher that used to come to the house, Mr. Sonny Santos. I don't know if he's still around. He was a older gentleman and I haven't talked
Awesome.
to him in years, but he was a great mentor, and I still keep things he taught me in my head, little lessons about drumming, and from yeah. So then in like middle school, I tried out for band because I didn't. Band starts in like third to third grade. It usually starts, but I didn't get into it till about sixth grade. And I played in the school band from sixth to eighth grade, and then I met a buddy of mine from high school, Ryan Brown, and me and him started playing a bit. And he was friends with Justin through they went to like this school of rock thing.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, that's like I guess what Jay was saying about like the bands he played in when he
Mhm.
and yeah, so I met Jay through there, and that's how I know Jay. And then our me and Jay's band our band kind of disbanded, and our frontman Ryan Brown joined another band, and then I met up with Dylan. Dylan was like, "Yeah, we're looking for a drummer," and kind of the rest is kind of how it played out. Started drumming with Dylan and our the former guitarist Christian. He was a good dude.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, that's really where we are today, you know?
Awesome. I love it. That's great. That's great. I love Dylan did an episode with me on the podcast a couple months back, and so he the listeners that are going to hear this are already most likely familiar with Dylan's story, but I wanted to get you guys to have your backstory kind of in here too, which is I think super cool. And
Thank you.
a lot of the people that do listen are drummers, so they'll definitely relate to a lot of what your story, your beginnings of playing drums. So that's awesome. Uh,
All right.
Um, so the singles, guys, Grounded and Jon From Innerlove. Uh, I love them. They're awesome.
Oh,
I
Thank
can't
you.
wait to hear the whole record. And so I'd like to, maybe we could go, we could look. Let's start with Grounded and just the recording of that tune, the inspiration for that tune. I'd also love like if you guys, each of you, could talk at some point about maybe some of the influences personally, and then maybe influences as a band, in in both singles, but also just like you guys are gigging a bunch. I follow you guys on social media, and it's awesome to see how often you guys are playing, and so, if there's influences that you guys have that you bring to your live show, I'd love to hear about all that. So, yeah, maybe Dylan, do you want to jump in a little bit?
Okay. Um, so I don't remember necessarily because last time I was on the podcast, I spoke about how we went in with 4 songs, and
Yeah.
Grounded was one of the 4 that we came in with prior to recording. Um, so and before we actually like tracked it and like it is what it is right now, it was pretty different. It was pretty cool, but I like the new one a lot. But in terms of like influences for that song specifically, honestly, I'm not really sure. But I do know, like as a whole, for most of the record, like one of the big ones mainly came from like halfway through. One night, I forget when, Mike just came up to me and he was like, "Yo, look at this band," and it was this band called Joy de Verve, and I just kept listening
Okay.
to that over and over.
Jo-
So,
Joie de vivre.
oh, sorry, Joie de Vivre, my bad.
It's French, yeah.
But
Joy
Joie de
de verve, that's
Vivre.
great.
Yeah, I didn't know, but
I thought that was
Joie de Vivre, yeah, cool band.
probably some weird title there.
And it's not really like a band that you can necessarily hear, in at least in my contributions, but it's definitely one that like influenced us to keep going, at least for me. So, but the recording of that one was pretty wild, I have to say. It was like our first major roadblock that we kind of got into, and it was the first song we recorded. Like it took us a while.
Well,
Like
it was the
you
first
were
song
saying.
it was the first song you recorded.
Yeah. No, I think Rocks was the one that we did first.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Grounded. My fault.
Oh no, you're good. No, Grounded was one of it was like the first major roadblock, but yeah. Um like it was really the only time I really blew out my voice, like
Oh,
when
wow.
recording vocals. Yeah, which was pretty rough because it's pretty high, at least at the time for me, or not even high, but just in a certain area that I was not used to at the time.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, basically when like to get back on track, when we started recording it, like we showed it to Gary, our producer, and he gave us like a lot of constructive criticism on it to like help us shape it to be more unique than it was, because before it kind of was, it felt like it dragged on a little bit, and oh, it's like too similar to it to like everything, and it was kind of boring. And then we kind of like changed things around and made things a bit more themselves, I guess.
Mhm.
Um, and that took us like a few days to really, or it felt like a few days, but mainly like a pretty much like one whole day to really get the track in the kind of like sequence we wanted it, and then to actually track it, it took us most of the time we were there, honestly, because that was my biggest vocal hurdle, and I remember Mike struggled on it to record the drums for it. So like he and I were both like, "Oh, we got to get this song. We have to do it," because it was so challenging. But I think it was worth it in the end. But
Oh man, you guys absolutely, that's really cool to hear, like how much effort went into the song, but you guys, it sounds awesome. Like you nailed it. You nailed it. It was
thank you.
so oh, you're welcome. It was so like I loved the EP, Dylan, that
Yeah,
you did like with Christian, is it 2 years ago at this point, maybe, or getting close, right?
Yeah.
Uh, but I don't know, hearing like, so I was remembering that, the vibe on that. And so I'm thinking like we're just continuing that, there'll be
Yeah.
growth and everything, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Grounded hit me completely differently. It was a whole nother thing. And the energy's awesome. Song structure, I love. Uh, but like, yeah, the performances, man, like your voice sounds like awesome.
Thank
And
you.
the drums, Mike, sound like just killer. Great killer energy, man. Just
Thank
it's
you.
awesome. I love it. I love it.
Thank you so much. You know,
All
that
right, welcome.
the the drums on that track were quite the pain in the ass because Gary, our producer, he's a guitarist, and he had this drum idea in his head, and he even made like little like rough demos with like computerized drums, like MIDI drums. And like this is kind of what I want to sound like. And just for some reason, it didn't click in my head that he wanted paradiddles. Uh,
Oh,
like and I don't, it's funny because we recorded it and I don't do the paradiddles in the recording, but I do them live. And
awesome.
because I didn't get it until after we were out of recording. I remember texting Dylan like a week out. I sent him a video of me playing and I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, Gary wanted paradiddles."
Yeah.
It's like,
That's that's
yeah,
amazing.
it was just so funny, man. But yeah, no, I that track it was so hard. I just couldn't get it for some reason. It didn't, and just played it as simple as I could and just played the pocket. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I mean, but you hear like you totally service the song. Like it's so appropriate. Everything you're doing, I love it. But it's cool to hear this backstory of like, you know, aiming for something and having it. It's really cool that Gary had these ideas. I love studio session type stuff like that, where there's this real great collaboration. And even if that, I mean, a lot of times the collaboration, right, guys, it's like it pushes you, like someone comes up with an idea and then you're like, that's really cool, but maybe it's out of your comfort zone, and but you're not, you're gonna go for it because you're in the studio,
Right, right.
and it's like I you end up with something like Grounded. It's awesome. It's awesome. What's it
Thank
like playing live? That song. What's it like playing that tune live?
We tend to speed it up.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
we fly, and it's all of us too.
Yeah.
I'd usually pin the blame on myself, but
It's everybody.
it's all of us. We all just speed the fuck up.
Yeah, we speed it up, but it's pretty fun. One thing that because unfortunately Jay couldn't come with us to record because he had just started a job. Um,
Okay.
but one thing we do now that's not on the record, and this is beyond just Grounded, but he
Mhm.
and I do like this back and forth vocal thing now, which is really cool.
Very
Or
cool.
like, I don't know how to describe it, but it's
I
like,
feel like I've seen clips because the three of you have now been playing for quite a while, right? Like
yeah,
playing shows for you
About a
know
year.
about a year. Yeah,
yeah,
okay. And I mean, you guys have posted like little clips, or you've shared, people in the audience. I
mhm,
feel like I've seen both you and Jay going back and forth like on vocals. It's awesome. It's great,
yeah,
man.
yeah. So we started doing that, and Ground is one of the big ones that we do that on. That's
Really
really cool.
cool.
Yeah, so like playing it live, getting to do that is something that in the studio, like I wanted to do, but we couldn't really do it.
Hmm.
But now we can, and that's really cool. Um, so that's like one of the biggest changes, at least not changes, but like biggest things about the song that we do live. But that's really like the whole set with most of the songs. I think it's all but like two or maybe one, not
Okay.
even. Um,
Yeah, it's been interesting to kind of like, I mean, we've been playing these songs now for since before these two went and recorded them. So it's been interesting to kind of find like the live identity sort of for each song. And that's definitely been
Yes.
like a big part of it. It's kind of like the trade-off vocals. It's almost like it's less like lead vocal, backing vocal, and more like two guys like yelling at each other. So
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
fun for the kind of like basement shows that we play and stuff like that. And
Mm.
people really seems to like it. So it's we want to like kind of keep that going, and like future songwriting and stuff like that, and kind of keep like what we've learned live from like the sort of band dynamic, and kind of bring that into the studio as well. So
Oh,
yeah.
that sounds amazing. I mean, it makes so much sense. Um, I mean, it gets me excited now for like I haven't even heard the record that's coming out, but now I'm like excited to hear whatever the next record is.
Yeah.
That's super cool, man. And it makes sense. Like you learn every time you play a song, it's different in a way, right? And every time, the more you play gigs, the more you the more audiences, like every audience can be different too, right? And you see the reaction, and that can inspire and influence. So that's really cool to hear that all these songs have, even though you recording them and you have like studio recordings, it's like they've taken on new life in a live setting. And it's going to be fun for all of us listeners, to hear the studio and then to see the show. It's like, it's not just a carbon copy, right? I love that. I've always loved that about bands, good bands at least.
Yeah, the last thing
Uh,
I forgot to
yeah.
mention. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to like interject. Okay.
Everybody should
So
interject. I'm the
Yeah.
last person. I'm the last person everybody listening to this podcast wants to listen to. So like you guys are what people want to hear from. So
I wanted to say one thing. Oh, I'm sorry, Mike. You
I
want to
just
go?
I have a burrito in the oven. I totally didn't realize like the time, and I think I might have nuked the thing. So I'll be back in like 5 seconds. I'm so sorry.
no, that's great. Get that burrito.
Alrighty.
But one thing I wanted to mention is before we went to the studio, like maybe like 2 weeks ish, we were practicing Grounded, and we just changed up the ending, and by we I mean Jay, and it became
Okay.
the best part of the song in my opinion. Like the very end where it's like then it,
Yeah.
like that was all Jay, and I just have to like give him props every time we talk about the song because it's my favorite part.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the climax of that song is yeah, it is. It's my favorite part too. Oh
Yeah, like
man,
it's so
that's
cool.
so cool.
Yeah,
That's so cool. So wait, that happened. Wait, say that again.
Yeah,
So how did that break down?
so unfortunately, like I said before, Jay couldn't come with us.
Right.
But there were like before when we were like experimenting with songs, there were a bunch of ideas that like he threw in, that we like took and used in the final version of the song. But the ending of Grounded, the way it is now, is outside of like the falsetto singing in the background, like that
Uh-huh.
like is identical for the. I believe it is. Jay, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's like identical to what was before, and it was just like one day, like Jay just changed up the rhythm, and me and Mike were both like, "Oh, like that is disgusting!" Like that was so cool, and
yeah.
I just have to
We
bring it up.
got so like locked into that, like those like straight eighths, like the whole song, that I just, yeah, at the ending I just wanted to kind of like give it like that one last punch, and live. I mean, it's super fun to
Yeah,
like break into that live, because it's just like it just punches. So it's like, yeah, people really seem to like that.
Are
So
you
Yeah.
talking about the ending? Oh, sorry.
yeah,
Yeah.
we are.
No, exactly. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, I butcher that kick pattern every show. The ba 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 ba, and that took me so many takes in the studio. My footwork is terrible. That's my least, that's my weakest suit as a drummer. My right foot is god awful. And yeah, no, but that ending it's fun when it works out. But yeah, it sounds good, on the recording. I like the way it
Oh,
came out.
yeah, it sounds awesome. And I mean, it's probably even crazier if you guys are kind of constantly playing it a bit more up tempo live. So it's like, yeah, Mike. I mean, you're right. It's probably like,
they're just getting, sometimes the crowd's just getting quarter notes, dude. I'm not even like, I just do it all up here, on my hands, but the foot just kind of stays, keeping it easy if I don't feel confident that night.
That makes sense. But it's like, oh man, it's got to be epic live. It's such a good ending, and yeah, I love that. That's awesome. So, all right, so that's cool that Grounded was. I didn't realize it was one of the original ideas or full songs basically going into the studio. Um, Now, Jon From Innerlove, the title is just amazing, and what's so cool about the two singles back to back is which I'm sure was intentional, but they're obviously the same. It's obviously you guys. It's obviously you know uh, they make so much sense next to each other, but they're also so different at the same time. Like there's just awesome contrast between the two songs, and yeah, break down everything you want to about this tune.
Mike, do you want to tell the story?
Sure. So how this song came about is it kind of roots back to the going in there with 4 songs on a 10-song LP. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it was one of the first idea. Was it the first one that yeah,
I
right?
think it was like the first new idea that we
Yeah.
made there.
So with that being said, we were sitting outside, stressed as anything, like, man, we think we bit off more than we could chew. I'm going like, man, I don't know if I could drum for much longer. Like, I think after this record, I think I'm leaving the sticks behind. I'm all beat, one of those. And we're sitting there, I'm having a cigarette. We're all stressed out, and then it was either you or Alex, 'cause I
I
didn't
think
know.
it was Alex.
He throws on the record Roscoe by Long Island band Innerlove. Um, and I, that record's been floating around the scene for, however long it's been out, and people always say how great it is because it's fantastic. And
Yeah,
I'd never heard it, and
Drumming is killer.
yeah, and we're sitting there, and I remember I just went, "What's playing right now?" And they were like, "Roscoe by Interlove," and I was like, "This is like just amazing." The record is like, they read a lot of songs about being burnt out, or like that's one of the tracks, but like just being like kind of feeling down on yourself, I guess. But you know, it's just a great album. If you haven't heard it, I recommend go listen. But anyway, we're sitting there,
yeah,
and it just kind of inspired us, and we went back in the studio, and we were just like, yeah, let's do this, let's write. And we were like, we should just title this song Jon From Innerlove. And Jon is the drummer of Innerlove, and he also runs Golden Hour Booking out here on Long Island. So he's done a bunch for the scene, and the photo on that single is him in front of the Massapequa VFW, where he books a lot of shows. So,
wow,
so
that's awesome.
yeah, Jon is a great dude. He just put me on to a few records the other night. I was chatting with him, and yeah, I mean, Dylan, did I leave anything out?
No, you basically got it. I remember one thing I do remember about this song is like it took us like not any like much time at all. Like we pretty much had the structure within 20 minutes.
Yeah,
Like if that, maybe like
Wow.
an hour at most. Like is it was like because I remember like we had to like have the song done by the morning because we were basically caught up for the most part of the older songs outside of like vocals and stuff. So it was like, all right, now we have, it's the do or die moment, I guess. But yeah, like it came out really quick and it didn't really change much either from what you hear, like little things, but like overall it's basically what we came up with that fateful night. Um but but yeah, the other thing I remember about the title was we were originally weren't gonna like we were trying to like name it after like John and Innerlove. We were like thinking like Roscoe or like some
Yeah,
other
okay.
like we were Googling like what Roscoe, like the town in upstate New York, like is known for, and like we couldn't really find anything. So we just like were like, all right, like I guess John from Innerlove works. And it
It's
stuck.
so perfect. It's so
Yeah, and
perfect.
it's like it's like it is pretty funny. But at the same time it is like Mike was saying before, it's like an homage to the guy because he's done a lot for Long Island emo scene and for this band especially.
Yeah,
Um,
big time.
so it's
Yeah.
like we wanted to like really like show our appreciation for John. Because like every little thing he's done hasn't gone unnoticed. And has really like meant a
Awesome.
lot. But yeah, like that song was pretty fun to track, I have to say.
Yeah, it went
Like it was
smooth.
really cool. It did. It went smooth. Gary has a guitar credit on that one. He did because we did a lot of because I play in open tunings and open tunings are
Right.
like not the best for tracking, especially like the chords I was using. Like things kind of get like mushed.
Okay.
So we like would for a bunch of the songs we would like overlay standard power chords and
Mhm.
bass. And so like it was one of the ones where after we were there, he was like, "Can I put standard power chords on this and just beef it up a little more?" We were like, "Yeah." So that's one of them where Gary's got a guitar credit, and I want to
That's
mention
awesome.
that because Gary is also a
Love
great
it.
guitarist. So that
Yeah,
was
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
But
Um, and I would like to credit Alex for
yes,
writing the main riff. The
hmm
gentleman and dear friend that we had come play bass for us. He came up with the lead riff in the beginning of the song.
he actually tracked
Oh,
it
that's
too.
awesome.
Yeah, and he tracked it.
Yeah,
It's a great riff. It's a great riff.
yeah,
That's so cool. Yeah, Alex, I mean, I remember Dylan, you told me a lot about kind of how that shaped out in the last episode we did together.
yeah,
And it's really cool that you guys had him in the sphere of, getting all this stuff going. Um,
yeah.
and now you're off to the races and he because he plays in multiple bands, right? I think still, I don't know.
He plays in one, but I know he
Okay.
plays in some other like projects like with some
Yeah.
friends, and
Yeah.
he does like he has like his own little recording studio. Well, I don't want to say little,
Right,
but
right, right.
like he
Yes,
has his
yes.
own recording studio that he like works with people, and I think it's now with his he like co-does it with his friend.
Cool.
But yeah, so and we see him from time to time, so it's always cool and it's always nice.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and he was a huge help on the record overall. So like a lot of things that are on the record, um, like he did help create not just like bass wise. Like this song is
Mhm.
probably the biggest one because like that intro
Yeah.
like main riff was like all him. Because I remember when we went in to track it, we were like, because he's a guitarist first, and we were like, let's just practice this, like, or let's like try to write, I guess, with two guitars and drums, just because it just flew like it just kind of came out easier since him being a guitarist and I being a guitarist, and neither of us really like playing bass all that
Yeah.
intensely. So like he came with that like intro riff, and then like I laid down like the chorus like thing, and Mike, did Mike's thing, and everybody just kind of came together, and it was sick. I remember um another like I guess my favorite moment, and it's more so just because live it's pretty like we do some pretty funny stuff around it, but the ending is always cool. Like the is funny, but
Yeah, yeah.
Mike's like I listened to the record the other day, and it's like Mike's drumming on that last like few seconds. On the entire record is great, but that specific moment is like my favorite drum on the whole record. Is that I forget what you called it, Mike, but that like little outro of
Oh,
John.
right.
That's my favorite part,
Oh, thank you. But
of course.
it's yeah, I remember when he played back that like, he played it in my monitor, like, yeah, here's the take from before. I was like, did you add anything to the hi-hat, Mike? Because I didn't even realize I was adding extra notes. And I remember listening back to it, I was like, Gary, you sure that's me? And he was like, yeah, of course it's you. Who else it would be, And I was like, well, I guess I did that. Like I don't even know what I did. If you told me to break it down, I wouldn't really be able to.
Oh wow, that's some of the best moments, though, man. Especially in the studio, you get those like just it's just pure kind of creativity on the spot, and it comes out and it clicks. And what's so cool is it sounds like this whole song was kind of surrounded with that, like just that creative energy that just kind of flowed out of a moment of it sounds like some heightened stress for you guys, with like you know needing to get to 10 tracks and almost being done with the four that you had, and then all of a sudden everything coming together. That's awesome. That's awesome. I mean, it sounds great, and I really do. I know I said this at the beginning of talking about uh this tune, but like I really love how it contrasts from your first single. Like it's like it's just a different beast, man. It's so cool. It's so cool. Um, what's it like playing this one live? Um, you know, it sounded like Grounded having like kind of takes on like new shape, as Jay was saying, live, and does this song kind of is it kind of a similar thing where this maybe evolves a little bit from the record, or are you guys kind of closer to? Is it always kind of in that lane? I don't,
Does anybody want to answer, or should I?
Uh, I I got one thing to say. I mean, I'm gonna say this for every track on this record that we play live. We speed up as a band, just as a whole band, we all
We
speed
do.
up. But this one is definitely the tightest. I think I think we all stick to our part from the record.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think we all stray off much. We just kind of play it down the line. I mean, Jay, you know, I think I don't want to sound like mean or nothing, but like Jay's been playing this song like Alex recorded the bass part, but Jay's played it like, over however many times now. So it's nice hearing Jay's bass line. I feel like Jay has more of an understanding of the track because he's played it much more. And that's,
Yeah.
and Jay's a great musician too, but I hope what I'm saying isn't coming off
No, no, it makes so much sense to me, man. It makes so much sense because yeah, and Jay, maybe you want to talk about like
Yeah,
playing
no,
this song and what that's like. Like, what was that like for you? Hearing Alex play on the record, and then you wanna play like the record because it's the song of your band, but you're also like you're the bass player of Jam Poetry, and like you also want to bring yourself into that. So, what was that process like?
yeah, definitely. I mean, I will say having Alex like record all those bass lines really like locked a lot of things into place. John was one of the songs that wasn't around before the studio, so I didn't have the same experience on that one as I did with some of the others where I was kind of playing my own part and then having to like learn a new part. But I think a lot of the things that Alex played probably make a lot more sense for a bassist to be playing. Because again, I'm more guitar minded most of the time.
Hmm.
But it's been interesting, especially for this song in particular. Playing to exactly what's on the recording doesn't always sound exactly right live, which has been really interesting to kind of mess around with and get right. And, do I play this here? Do I lay out here? Because maybe it just sounds better. And kind of certain like little tweaks like that that have just kind of helped smooth things over live. Because, in the studio, you have everything kind of dialed in exactly how you want it. And your frequencies aren't like bumping into each other and crashing around like they would in a big room. So it's kind of like just kind of listening to everyone and making like some small adjustments. But yeah, I do kind of for the most part stick to what Alex recorded. I just kind of like to throw in like a few like fills and stuff here, and then this is like one of I think a few songs where I've kind of been trying to work in harmony a little bit more with the
Okay.
vocals, and so this is one where the chorus we've been able to kind of successfully like do some harmonies and stuff like towards the end of the chorus, and that's been really fun. So yeah, this has been one that for me it's been cool to kind of like piece together my place in the song.
That's awesome. That's so cool. yeah, it's always, I think, an interesting battle for us musicians when you're playing live and you're, whether you're covering a song or, it's your song, but you've got that studio recording, and once it's out there, then it's like, the people are coming to see you. Do they expect the studio recording, or do they expect something a little different, and like um having that freedom, but also the control, right? To kind of give them that, but give them something a little extra, and it's like, uh this is a language, music. I think it's cooler to have, like you're saying, these little adding these little fills, find your place within it while still being the core of the tune. If it doesn't breathe, if the song doesn't breathe, then it can just sound like a product, like you're going to like just like some pop show or something like that,
Right.
um but that's really cool, and I love hearing how you guys are adding like some harmony and stuff like that into this. It just takes everything to another level, on top of the fact that you play everything faster.
Yeah. We did, there's one change though from the recording to the song that we played live, and it's right before the final chorus. Instead of it being like this kind of like airy vibe thing, I guess it's a bit more groovy, for lack of a better term. I don't know how to describe
Okay.
it, but
Yeah,
No, it's awesome.
we kind of throw in this almost little like dance break, like
yeah,
Oh yeah, like
there's a moment like right after like the big chorus. I guess it would be,
this,
I think, like the second chorus, and it kind of like
yeah,
things kind of come down, but like in the room we kind of just want to like keep the energy up, and I think like I don't know like who caused it to happen. There was like keeping up like the energy on the drums or whatever it was, but we all started to lean into it, and now it happens like every time, and it's this kind of like
yeah,
little dance break that happens.
yeah.
Oh, that's
it was
awesome.
actually Dylan that just started doing like some funk strumming pattern. And then our former guitarist used to always be like, "Shake your ass," and the crowd would just
So yeah, then we just kind of like caught on and kept it going. I forgot that I did it. I think I was like just trying to mess around one day. And I was like, hey, let me just try this. And then we thought it was cool. So we were like, let's keep it going.
Oh, that's awesome. And that's what I'm
Yeah.
talking about, right? It's like the live element just brings something else out, sometimes,
Yeah.
and then it becomes like a mainstay in the song. But it's cool also as like a listener, to have that difference, like to have the studio recording and then to have the live show be something a little different. I've always loved that personally. That's awesome, guys.
Yeah.
So what is so I think you said online, and if you told me this privately, then I won't. I'll edit this out. But I think you said online that the record's coming out this fall, right?
Yeah.
Did
It's
you say that online, or is that like a spoiler? Did I?
I don't really know.
no, but yeah,
Um,
that's fine. That's perfect.
yeah, we're still on
Okay.
track to drop it in like, I don't know, September, October. I
All
don't
right, all
know.
right. So
Like we decided like because we decided like we're stuck between like end of September, beginning of October.
that's
It's
awesome.
not,
Okay, cool, cool.
yeah.
Wait,
So we're figuring it out. I don't know. Things might change.
What I love about this is like I I started by saying like I don't know, I can cut this out, and then Dylan just starts digging a bigger hole for you guys. Like, yeah, no,
no,
it's now.
I'm
My bad.
confused. I don't even know when it's coming out now because I
Yeah,
thought
we
something
never set a
completely
date.
different.
No, we never set a date, but we just said like September, October.
I
Unless
that's
we did set a date.
I'm
I thought
not
we
even.
did
I'm
set a
not.
date.
I
I've
thought
had a
we
date
did
in mind
set
the
it.
whole time. Yeah.
Yeah, like
What day?
no, no. I mean,
No,
I,
don't say the date now. Don't say the date.
it's funny you say late September, early October. Somewhere in my mind, I was thinking like early
That's
September,
what
like
I was
mid
thinking.
September.
All right,
That's
then
what I
that's
was
what it
thinking.
is. My bad.
No, it's cool. It can be whatever it is. Whatever it is, it is. That's the end of,
Okay. All right.
So but the record is 10 songs, right?
Yes.
That's awesome. And yeah, it's crazy. It's like right around it feels right around the corner, you know?
Yeah, it's weird.
Uh
Yeah.
It's
so
really weird.
what's it been like having these singles drop and have you guys have played since from Innerlove came out, right? Yeah, yeah. So what's
Yeah,
it like
yeah.
having like had have these singles come out and then play gigs and like what's been the reaction from everybody or just how you feeling playing it?
Pretty good, I have to say, at least on my end. I don't want to speak for Mike and Jay, but um, pretty good. I find people dig them, and people that have heard them seem to really like it, which is always a good thing.
Of
So yeah,
course.
but yeah, Mike and Jay, I don't know. What do you guys think?
It's been cool to actually be able to like play live and point people to the songs and say, hey, like this is out now, like you can go check it out. Because for a long time, it was like we had the EP out and we had these songs, like all these new songs that we were like super excited about that we were playing, like not even really playing songs from the EP live.
Yeah,
And like pointing people to our like streaming pages, but not actually having the new stuff up yet. Um,
Right.
so it's been awesome to actually be able to like send people to it and have people like find it and listen to it and follow us and like enjoy it. So that's been super fun. And I'm just excited to have more and more music out so that people can actually like hear the song at the show and then go listen to it. Cause it definitely is like, for me at least, it sucks sometimes when you're at like this indie show and you hear like this awesome band and then you can't find any of their stuff online. So
Yeah.
hopefully that's
Yeah.
people's experience with us. I don't want to say that we're like some awesome band, but yeah, hopefully
Oh, you
people.
guys are. You guys are. Come on. Come on.
thank you.
Yeah. No, that I mean I completely agree. Like uh it's always way cooler when like yeah, you go and you see a band and maybe you didn't know them but you can actually like check out that cool song that you heard, you know. Um yeah, that and that's also a really cool point that I didn't even think about, but like yeah, you guys have been playing these songs for a while and not playing like you've had this older EP, but and that's all that was there. But if the shows have been a lot of the newer material, it's got to feel really good now to have like at least two of the tunes out. And um, have you? I mean, like people, like some of the people that have seen you will have obviously heard these songs live previously, and now that they're out, like, have you talked? Has anybody, like, has anybody talked about the difference between, maybe the live version versus the studio version, or it's all just like, yeah, we just love the song. Like, do they notice the difference, kind of thing, or not? Not.
I don't think so just yet, since it's still pretty fresh and people are still
Yeah,
finding
yeah,
it. Um,
yeah.
Fact
but
that, people are usually outside during our set.
no, but
Yeah.
so yeah, I think it's just um since it's so recent, people have yet to really like get accustomed to it or like find it. But
Put the two together. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, to like really like have enough, I guess, familiarity with it to really put the two together. But people are liking it, which is awesome. So,
Yeah, yeah, no doubt.
and one thing,
Um,
this is kind of a side note, but I thought I'd mention it because it's pretty funny. But I called Gary the other day, and we were just talking, and he said that now when bands come in and they feel underprepared and they feel like they're like scared and worried, he says that he's like, "Don't worry," and he just tells them about us and said that there's this band called JamPoetry that came in with 4 songs and made it work. And they came in with a
that's
pretty
awesome.
good record,
That's an
and so it's
honorary
like
title to have.
I know it's like now when people like feel stressed out, we like hopefully our story like he tells them and then it makes them feel a little bit better about themselves because they
That's
they
so
did not
true.
Yeah.
come in with 4 songs.
Especially when they can hear the music too. Like they can hear
That's
the end
true.
result.
That
It's
is
like
true.
I mean, yeah, if the record is anything like these first two singles, like I mean, any of the tracks would be like, oh yeah, look, this is how it could turn out, you know, which and it's killer.
Thank
Um,
you.
that's really cool that Gary said that.
Yeah, I
Um,
thought I'd mention it.
no, it's awesome. A couple moments we could clip from tonight's conversation and put as little
Yeah,
teasers before the episode airs.
yeah.
Um, uh, so what's going on for the rest of the summer with you guys? I mean, you guys, I feel like every time you pop up in the story section of Instagram, it's like we're playing a show tonight. So what's happening?
Um, I don't know. Mike, do you wanna take that? I don't wanna like hog all the
No,
answers, so
I
go
mean,
for it.
um, that burrito's still in the oven. I terrible at being do it during an interview. I'm just stressed about it. I'm gonna have to go grab it, but I'm gonna answer quick and hand it over to you. We just have a busy summer. Uh, thank you know, whatever higher power you believe in. If none, okay. But I mean, we have a pretty busy summer. We have a pretty busy. I don't know what I'm saying. Pretty busy.
He's thinking about that
I'm
burrito.
thinking about the burrito.
He's thinking about that.
You got to eat that burrito, man. You
Yeah,
need this burrito.
because
We
I
got a
had
bunch of shows.
I
We got
had
a
to
bunch of shows
defrost it.
coming up.
I'll be right back.
Bunch of shows coming up this summer. I got my calendar open. We're coming to Philly and New York. We're going to New Jersey. We're gonna be playing in Connecticut at the Max Festival on August 17th. We're gonna be playing. I don't know. I don't know which of these gigs are confirmed and which aren't. So I'll have to start listing them off. But we're gonna be playing a whole bunch. Like every weekend in August, we've got like something going on. My phone's on 1%, so I don't know. I don't know how much more of that.
No,
But hey,
that was awesome. That was awesome. That's the kind of answer, man.
we're playing a bunch this summer, and it's been fun, and it's going to be fun. We're going to continue promoting the new stuff. More music to come before the album, so look forward to that.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that's sick.
Yeah,
So like one more single or something, or
one or two,
Yeah, one or two.
one or two.
one or
Yeah,
two.
we're kind of toying around with what exactly we want to do, but yeah, definitely gonna hear some more stuff from us before the record's out.
Yeah,
That's awesome. That's awesome. Man, that's super cool. Yeah, I mean, I've loved, I think one of the big things that's been awesome about watching you guys grow is just how often you guys play. And, I don't know if you guys know too much about like my backstory with Dylan, but I used to teach him drums for quite a while. And, um, a bunch of my students, I'm constantly pointing to you guys, the younger drummers that I teach. I'm like, because they play in bands or they want to play in bands, but it's so interesting. I feel like there's so many people who are like learning an instrument and there can be this hesitation to want to play shows, or like, and I guess maybe it is nerve wracking trying to put together a project and, figure out how to play gigs or whatever. But I'm constantly pointing to JamPoetry now. I'm like, yeah, no, I used to teach Dylan and he doesn't even play the instrument I taught him on, but check it out, but like you guys are just doing it. Like, and you look at how much, even if, for the young musicians listening or even just not young musicians but just for the musicians listening, like if you just look at how much you guys have grown just on social media, like just like clearly the gigs you guys are playing, it's all a part of why that's so great and important for bands and musicians to do. And now that you have music out, it's like I was looking at your monthly listeners on Spotify just before we started chatting. It's like it's awesome. Like it's
Thank
really
you.
cool, and that's not nothing, and it's like really, it's just great. And so like to have seen, to have known Dylan for so long and to have seen, like him playing up in an older band, like different bands, but to end up doing this and just to see how like I remember conversations you and I would have, Dylan, like in our later lessons, as jam poetry was becoming a thing back when like it was just you and Christian, and like um to think back to that and to see where you're at now, with Mike and Jay, it's like it's night and day, but it's also makes so much sense. Like the growth, the trajectory of the band and the project, and because of how you guys are doing it and the work you guys are putting in. And so sorry, that was the teacher in me just kind of coming out for a second for like the listeners. Like I just want to stress like how cool and how like what you guys are doing. It's like the results they make sense. I don't know if that makes sense, but
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
totally. I would like to say that you created a great drummer. Not to say Dylan didn't do his
oh,
own work, but Dylan is one of the best drummers I know. He's a better drummer than I'll ever be.
That is not true.
Dylan's a
I will fight
fantastic
you. I
drummer.
will fight you on that, Mike.
Dude, you are a fantastic drummer. Dylan helped with a few of the drum parts on the record, so
That is true.
oh, that's awesome. That's so cool. I mean, it's cool that like, and Jay, you said that you're more of a guitar player,
Yeah.
like or like yeah. So like what's so cool is like you guys like have. I think knowing other instruments too it can just be incredibly helpful, right? Like Dylan, you're singing, you're playing guitar. Jay, you're playing bass, but like your knowledge of guitar can influence how you're able to connect with the songs you guys are writing. And like and yeah, Dylan, like your history as a drummer, like your understanding of groove and things like that, I'm sure that plays a part in how you connect with Mike. Like
It does.
you can hear things that Mike's doing, and maybe have this intuition of like, oh, I know where he's going with this, like especially in a live scenario, right? Like, and I'm sure Jay feels that way, like, with maybe something you're doing on the guitar or what have you. And yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you guys want to speak about that a little bit, or is that just kind
Yeah.
of
I want to say one thing to kind of go a little bit off topic, but then bring it back. Um, One thing I want to say is I am excited to write new stuff in the future with Mike and Jay. Well, obviously I've written with
yeah,
Mike, but not as not, we really haven't written that much with Jay. But we all know like other instruments, and that's been a huge help already because like there were points on that when we were recording the record where I would have an idea for Mike or Mike would have an idea for me. Like there's one song on the record called Hubie Dubois Fights Crime in Ontario that I remember like we had to write a song, and I was like trying to come up with like a decent like chord progression or anything, and I just couldn't do it. So I just went to sleep, and the next morning Mike was like, "Yeah, we got a song," and it was so cool.
that's
So like
awesome.
or like there's like a trem picking part at the end of the song called Rocks, and Mike was like, "Oh, what if we just try this?" Because we were toying with like the ending on if we should cut it short or not, and Mike was super adamant about keeping it the full length, and we were like, okay, it feels a little empty though, so we just added, you suggested this trem picking part, and it like makes that entire section just so much better. um
Yeah,
and like going forward to write new stuff, it's like we all know like a lot of each other's instruments, so like coming together to kind of write will feel a bit more like this than I think ever
yeah,
before. And it'll be definitely cool to help each other out, just come up with parts together for other things. And I don't know, I feel like it might make the songs feel more like a unit instead of like one person being like, all right, here's a song, you know? So I look forward to that. And I do think knowing other instruments does help for sure.
yeah. I can't wait to hear what you guys do. Like hearing the story of like the whole story now of how this upcoming record came to be, and just knowing the backstory of like the situation of Jay not being able to be in the studio, and like but how you guys have been playing together live for so long now. It's like it's very exciting to think about what is coming from the three of you, like in the future. Um, yeah, and I really do think that like that is such a thing. Like each of you knowing a little bit or even a lot in certain cases about each other's instruments is like it's so valuable. It's so valuable. Um, even for like I think even for especially for a drummer, I think drummers can sometimes be stuck in a box, right? Like, and both of you, like Mike and Dylan, like you both probably, I'm sure, know what I'm talking about. But like if you
Yeah.
don't know anything about like a melodic or harmonic instrument, there's only so many ideas I feel like we can have as drummers. But when we have like an idea of like what the bassist is thinking, or what the singer is thinking, like what's actually happening in the song, like harmonically and melodically. Like I feel like as a drummer, we can make way more musical decisions, and I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
I agree.
Yeah,
But
no. Oh, Dylan, were you gonna say?
I was just saying I agree, but
Oh,
I hear you.
well, okay. Um, but
Sorry. I'm sorry.
no, yeah, I didn't like. If you want to go, I don't want to cut you
No,
off,
I
but
don't want to go.
I don't want
I
to be
want
a,
you
I
to go.
don't want to be a mean man. Um, but no, there's this band, Dinosaur Jr. and the front man is Jay Mascis, and he's originally a drummer, but he went on to write all the songs, guitar and bunch, and you could hear the correlation in the guitar parts and the drum parts. It's almost like they follow each other. Like
Yeah,
the guitar will accent and the drums will accent almost like simultaneously, And it's
yeah,
really interesting. But yeah, no, totally having a grip on each instrument does help. It totally does. I play a little bit of guitar. I also play bass. I sing a little bit. Jay,
yeah,
same thing. Justin, he plays a little bit of everything. Same thing with Dylan. We
yeah,
all play a little bit of everything here, and you know, but what you're saying, how like it helps so much. It really does. Just having an
yeah.
insight of everything. And the good thing about, yeah, yeah.
No, I love what you're saying, and I think drummers can get into a sorry, I'm kind of steering this conversation for a brief second into drum world, but this is
No,
what I
that's
do. So, but it's like I feel like drummers can, if we're not aware of anything about the other instruments, we can just kind of get in the world of like certain grooves that we know how to play and like certain like trademark
uh,
licks for like a fill, and like
Mhm.
then that's what we bring to every song. But when you listen to your band, like you guys, there's like a whole thing happening. There's no like just like, okay, this is a cookie cutter, rock beat number seven, like, or here's that fill that I just know how to do and I'm just gonna plug it into every tune, like to have uh that creativity to really listen and to try to make something really gel with whatever's happening in the other instruments, or even if it's just the melody, like you're listening to the melody and be like that could just influence how we approach even something as maybe minor as a hi-hat part or something like that. It's really
right.
cool, and
Yeah,
and I
just
think that comes out in your music.
oh, thank you so much. That's actually awesome to hear. Thank you.
No, you're welcome.
Because there is that, especially with drumming, that intent to detail. Even if it's just an extra quarter on the hi-hat or just the littlest thing, like if you're, oh man, I wish I had like a kid in front of me to like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
break things
yeah.
down and like, it's so funny because my first teacher used to say a little side note. He always used to say, if you can't count it, you can't play it. That was his trademark saying, like put it on a billboard. And it's so true. But yeah, no, that little intent to detail. Like, say you're just playing like a straight, 2 and 4 on the floor. Say you just add an
Mhm.
extra kick note in there somewhere that suits the song. It could just be so versatile, and just so
Yes.
impactful in one note if just done
Yeah.
right over the right song structure. That's what makes drummers like, I mean, for example, everybody talks about a guy like Ringo. I mean, but
Hmm.
it's so drummers in that category, like, I'm trying to think of like big drummers who kept it straight. Meg White of the White Stripes, you know,
Totally.
just less is more. And there's nothing wrong with a drummer doing, all, like sounding great, There's nothing wrong with a drummer really showing off his deck of cards, which
Yeah.
which is awesome. But there's just something for me personally, and I bet other drummers feel this way, just, you know, keeping it, it's nice when a drummer suits the song and does what the song needs.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's so important. And yeah, and you could do that deeper when you even if a drummer just has a little bit of knowledge into another instrument, it's like you
Right.
can go even deeper into that. But yeah, it's so important. I mean, you got to service the song first rather than our own drumming egos. And I guess the
Right.
same could be said for all of you guys, right? All of the musicians,
Yeah.
right? Like if
Mm-hmm.
you don't want to just be like, all right, I got to get this lick in on the guitar or this fill in on the bass or something like that. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
like, no, it's got to be for the tune. And I know I keep saying this, but this is what today's all about. It's about you guys. You really hear that in Grounded and in Jon from Innerlove. So yeah, man, I love it.
Thank you.
Do you guys have uh anything else any other thoughts or anything on any of these topics? I know I've been kind of chatting away.
Worries. Not really. It's like I'm not sure if I can say, but I'm going to. And Mike and
Oh
Jay will just like yell at me.
Oh boy.
no,
But
well, guys, I will cut anything out you don't
okay.
want in it.
Okay, real quick, Mike, I don't know if you know, but I'm just letting you know your camera, like I could see half your face.
You
And I'm
know,
just letting you know. I didn't know if that's intentional.
It
it's
happened
it's
to someone.
intentional because I'm not trying to be
Okay.
rude. I mean, I'm
Oh
I'm
no.
already rude enough for cooking a burrito mid-interview, and I already feel like a prick about that. And I'm starving. I haven't eaten all day, and I've been up since like 6:45. So I'm eating on the
I
side over here.
I was just
But I'm
wondering if it
listening to
drifted.
everything.
I was just wondering if it drifted. My bad. I didn't mean to. All right, but um, yeah, they can just yell at me.
We-
But we have another project somewhat soon-ish, depending on another band.
Mm,
okay.
yes,
We're
indeed.
doing a split EP with another band that's a good friend of ours. Um, and yeah, that's gonna be really cool. I don't know when
Oh
we're
man,
like
that's awesome.
recording because it could be like tomorrow or it could be like halfway into next year when we start it because we obviously have to finish putting out our record and
Yeah.
they are currently in the middle of doing a record, so they have to finish recording it and then release it. Well, I guess we could start it while they're releasing it if they want to do that, but um yeah, so they have to like finish wrapping that up and then we're gonna once they're done with that, we'll I guess jump into creating the split
That's
EP,
awesome.
which
That's
is
amazing.
yeah, it's
That's
super
exciting.
cool. I've always wanted to do one, and we're doing it with one of my favorite bands. So it's like it's just cool.
That's awesome.
Yep. One of my
That's
favorite
really
bands from
cool.
the scene as well.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. Well, that's cool. It's a little breaking news here. Uh
Here's a little
maybe I should
sneak peek.
Oh, he's wearing the
I'm wearing the shirt.
Oh,
I'm rocking the shirt.
I definitely
That
got to
was not
clip this
intentional.
now.
Yeah, that
I
was not
definitely got to clip
intentional,
it.
but yeah.
I have to clip this and post this on its own.
Oh
This
yeah.
little moment.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Um, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. And for talking about the singles and the band. And it's great to meet you, Mike and Jay. It's been a pleasure. And
You.
and when the album comes out, I'd love to have you guys back. We can talk about the whole thing if you
For
want.
sure.
Would love to.
I'm
But
down. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
cool.
Thank
Because
you.
now we know that it's potentially early September, late September, mid September, or or what?
Early
Early October or something.
maybe even like mid-October, late October,
Late
maybe
October.
November 5th.
Yeah, any updates will be on our Instagram at JamPoetry Band, and that's
Absolutely.
where you can
Right,
find
plug
us.
the
Yeah.
socials. Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Me and Mike always
yeah.
forget.
And yeah, and also Jay, it was awesome that you ran through where some of what you guys are doing this summer as far as gigs, August being booked up, and I'll make sure to have all your links and social accounts and stuff in with the episode when it drops. Yeah, but guys, thank you so much, and look forward to chatting again.
Yes,
Thank
thank you
you.
for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
You got it. All right, guys, have a great night.
You too.